Hello everyone. Today, welcome to another episode where I will be driving my Scania across Canada. Kinda rhymed, didn't it? I've installed a Frosty Weather mod. I'll put the link in the description down below. And ProMods have kindly provided made this mod with that has Canada, some parts of Canada at least, but still it's quite well made. And fittingly, this cold winter's morning, I'm starting off at Hope, the city of Hope. Now, while Hope is somewhat of an interesting place to start off with, as an unlikely place to start off with, I would like to discuss about hope, having hope. So, yeah, I know it's quite cliched and cheesy and whatever, but New Year, and I would like to discuss more about what life is. My 23 years of existence has taught me a couple of lessons, some painful ones, some relatively happier ones. So, yeah, I'm also gonna start off at night because, well, it's night o'clock, and 10 o'clock, and it'll be quite fun to drive around here at night. So, where am I? Yeah, high beam, front auxiliary, and roof auxiliary. So, we got all the lighting that we need, and I'll discuss more about it as we pick up our load a little across the street. Oh, okay. Well, don't worry, guys, I know how to drive. So, this is a Scania R845. Well, I tuned it till 845 horsepower, so it is quite good, quite fast. And okay, so let's get a job from here. I hope we get a job where we can stay in Canada, but apparently not. But we will explore some parts of Canada while on our way to Kalispell, Montana, I think. So, and the roads also look quite interesting from Hope to Colville, Spokane. I don't know what that is. Missoula and Kalispell. So, let's take this job, and it's kind of a long job, so it'll also give me more time to reflect on life, reflect on things, and even maybe discuss a couple of things about mental health and all that. This is annoying. I want coming back. I know I'm going around in circles too much because this is quite unscripted. I don't know where to begin. Well, I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to start. I don't know how to discuss about such things. But hey, I think things will come to me as a drive rather. So let's get this load going, and hopefully I will find metaphors probably on my drive to discuss things. So I am 23 now, soon to be 24 in a couple of weeks time. So life has thrown multiple curveballs. Well, that's true for everyone anyways. It's not like I'm exclusive to it. And yeah, while growing up, this story I haven't discussed with many people, and I don't see the point discussing it too much anyways. But you know, I hope you'll find some sort of a lesson or learning or anything that you can from my experience. And Well, I was born and brought up in India, and right now I reside in the Philippines. And okay, let's speed up to this. No, I think 50 is enough. So right now I reside in the Philippines, and for my education, well, yeah, because I was a little unlucky. Let me say that. Let me put it to you that way. A bit unlucky back home. So yeah, speaking of all that, let's begin. One of the struggles since childhood I had was being what one would call a gifted child. Yes, it's been quite the downfall eventually, but a healthy gamer GG has the doctor has actually discussed this quite extensively. I will leave a link to his video down below, but yeah, that video has gotten me thinking. I was considered what you'd call a gifted child. So, what would that mean, anyways? What does gifted child mean? Well, if you look at the scientific definition of it, if you look at the definition of it, it basically means someone that has above average levels of intelligence and or skills, if you will, skills that are quite difficult to attain at a certain ages that I have and that I possess, and or rather I possessed way back when. And as ever, it's been quite the tough upbringing. It's not like I haven't had a loving environment to live in, because my parents are still really nice to me, and I'm really grateful of them to provide me with multiple opportunities that I never thought I would find and never thought I would enjoy, at least. So this is less of a discussion about how my personal life is and how my parents etc are or whatever, and it is more of a discussion on when things do go wrong, they do go wrong. So why isn't this thing climbing? How heavy is this thing? It's just 25 tons. It should climb, right? Or maybe the climb is too steep. That would also explain it, I guess. Okay, now why is this road blocked? Okay, there's an accident. How's AI gonna manage this? I'm gonna go around this incident. Don't know how that quite happened, but well, I guess it can. Yeah, stupid AI. Anyways, stupid AI aside, coming back to, I was born in the year 2000, and well, it's not like I had bad life, but it's nothing to write home about anyway. So speaking of a gifted child and the struggles, I was considered a gifted child, and way back in 2002, 2003, when I first started my kindergarten years, school kindergarten came to me quite easy when I was 3, and it was never a struggle, if I wanted to learn anything, if I wanted to learn whatever that is that I have to learn for the exam, it would come to me naturally. I would just read for a while, and yeah, I used to have strict times and all that. What strict times where when I can watch TV, when I can all that, but you know that's quite common everywhere. So, oh, am I in the wrong lane? I don't know. Where are the lane markings, anyways? Is it right for me to overtake? Am I in the right place? I know this looks a very weird, but this road, but yeah, let's get up to the speed limit of 100. No, back to 70. So, so yeah, things came to me quite easy, and that meant school wasn't all that much of a challenge. But I don't know why, but I never found interest in friends, and even if I did, I was quite obese back then. I didn't have much of a life and much of anything for that matter to think about. And as a child, never made any friends, and I used to just live all by myself and no without any siblings. So I guess that's something else as well. And yeah, that basically means I've had little to no exposure of how to deal with people, how to live in a social environment, and that did come to bite me eventually. See, as I said, is this whole thing is quite unscripted, so I don't know where I'm going, how to start, how to begin. So, but we are going down a very steep hill, so it'll be quite fun. Okay, let's upshift. Let me get up to 79. 70 is enough, I guess. Or rather 50. Yeah, I don't want to lose control, so this should be enough. So, as we are seeing a tough downhill section, that's how it was. I was like a runaway train. Nothing, it never felt like anything could even stop me. I never felt tied down. I felt like I was almost invincible. And that feeling of invincibility did mean that I was quite, what's the word? Narcissistic? Yeah, that's just me being all a medical student and being all technical, I suppose. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I was never the kind to. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I was never the kind to approach people or even talk to them by myself. I was always shy, and for the most part, if I feel like they aren't worth my time or they don't match my levels of energy, I would just don't care about them anyways. And I guess that is normal for anyone. You know, you don't expect everyone to be your friends, and certainly someone with same interest as me was incredibly difficult to find. And oh, come on, AI, really? I think I should download Slippery Roads mod as well. Slippery when wet. Oh, as if. Isn't that quite obvious? Oh, I bet this place looks amazing in the day, but like if for you guys, you don't have to distract yourself watching the scenery, and you can distract yourself by listening to me and babble on about whatever as we're getting up to Princeton. So yeah, I was like that, and I was never into sports. Yeah, I know. Being in India, and I'm not interested in cricket at all. I don't care about cricket. It's a sport, yeah, but never quite managed to intrigue me as much as racing does. But I suppose that also made it quite difficult because everyone I knew was a huge fan of cricket, everyone I knew would play cricket day in day out, and when they would invite me, because I didn't know how to even swing a bat, or when I did, I would miss every single one of the balls, meant that it didn't really, I didn't really make any meaningful friends when I was young. That meant I had all the time to myself, and we didn't have internet back then. So even if I did have a computer, we did have internet, but it was quite restricted, and I wasn't allowed on it anyways as a 6-year old or a 5-year old. So that was when I first started to play Need for Speed, and that piqued my interest in cars and vehicles and going fast and everything. And that meant that I spent a lot of time all by myself without caring about others. And in my school, well, school came easy to me, as I said, and in the class I would get bullied for being obese, and I don't know. It was something that you would expect kids playing around, bullying and all that. That's quite normal. It shouldn't be normal, but it was normalized, and I wouldn't blame them though, because I didn't share any of their interests. They were interested in movies and cars, movies and cricket rather, and I was interested in neither, which meant that there was nothing for me to discuss with them. And what I was interested in was quite nerdy details. And speaking of being incredibly nerdy, it was in 2009, I believe, when I was in third class or third grade, as it's elsewhere. And 2009 was in third class. No, I was in fourth. I guess 2008. Yeah, when Kimi Raikkonen won. No, when Ferrari won their last constructors championship, I was 8 years old, and they haven't managed anything since. Wow, but I'm still oh oh always a Ferrari fan, was, and I will always will be a Ferrari fan. So that's that. I will stick with them even if they fail. But anyways, that side rant aside, see, this is sort of thing. I digress very quickly from what I'm discussing, and then I end up annoying people. Maybe most of the people who are watching right now are quite annoyed about about this random rant that I'm babbling on about. I don't know what I'm saying, and maybe there are some people who actually quite enjoyed listening to people discuss random things. But you know what? I salute you if you are that kind, because I am that kind of a person, and I don't know if I never found any such people, and if through this channel I will find people who can actually share my same interests and build a nice community of friends, and even people to talk, have discussions like this, or maybe even do live streams and discuss how my life is right now, because I'm in MD third year, MD3, and past it, it's done. So I'm going to hospitals and all that from now on in for fourth year clerkship or internship or whatever, and that's in February. So I have a heck a lot of time to what was that? Anyways, I have a heck a lot of time to discuss things and to play games, to have some time to myself, because the past 3 months have been quite stressful. So, anyways, going back to when I was young, I would read. There was a day when, salespeople, young marketing students, and all of them, they come to your home and try to sell you random books, random things like probably a vacuum cleaner, or probably some random kitchen appliance, or something. And yeah, it was one of those times when it was one such occasion when when a young, well, back then in her 20s, a marketing girl came around to our home to sell, marketing lady rather, to sell books. I was quite excited to read books, and because I had nothing else to do and because I had no access to internet, there's nothing but read books for me. And she bought along couple of books, couple of novels, couple of comics, and something that, and another book that actually somewhat made me the way I am right now. The book that shaped my life then, and even to this day, it actually quite was helpful for me to have that book, to buy that book. It was the Doling Kindersley's Family Encyclopedia. I don't read non-fiction books. I don't read novels. I find them extremely boring, and I don't know, novels, non-fiction, fiction stuff. Yeah, I find them boring, just like how I find superhero comics and all that boring. Everything, man. I'm very much interested in science and being scientific and all that. So I guess it's a weird thing, but yeah, I'm not your casual geek. Rather, I was interested in cars, but that's about it. Really, that's the only other thing that I'm interested other than medicine and science. So, and even girls, but that we'll come to that. We'll come to that. There have been incidents. So it was back then, and because I had little to no friends at that time, all I could do was study my encyclopedia day in day out, and I probably read multiple. I probably read that book multiple times, surprisingly for me, and it was at the same time when one of my cousins also bought the same book, but okay, we're stuck here. Same book at around that time because, well, Indian families and competition and all that. Yeah. Anyways, so he never managed to read it. The book is still brand new. His book still looks brand new, and I suppose that's that's how it is. If you don't like it, you don't like it. So, anyways, we are already coming up to the border control. Yeah, it's okay. We'll take another job if this drags on for too long, and maybe another job back into Canada or something. So, okay, let me slow down a little bit. See, I struggle with multitasking as well. When I'm doing something, it's quite difficult for me to talk and drive. And yeah, wait, did I miss the border control? Did I bypass it? Or maybe if I don't have to do border control here. X-ray inspection. Wow, fancy. Or maybe I need to stop here. I probably should. Oh, the reverb in the tunnel is quite nice. I never knew American Truck Simulator had that. Wow. I love Scania V8s. I love diesel V8s. I love diesel V8s. Okay, now it started to snow. So, mm, mm, come on. Okay, it's just 24 kph. Makes sense. 161? Really? Okay. Oh, no. I was excited for quite a bit, but anyways, this thing would never made to 161 kph with that load on. So, yeah, that book. it kinda made me who I am right now. And I read that book multiple times over because it's my only way to pass time, and actually quite enjoyed it. You know, yeah, I know it sounds weird for a, or maybe unusual for a 8-year old to like encyclopedia, but I did somehow, and I found that book quite fascinating. That's a railroad crossing. Eh, there's no train, so it's okay. It does get quite dark, doesn't it? This mod is quite fascinating. I like snow now. Never experienced snow in real life, but this does look good though. So, so yeah, that book, I loved it too much, and I read it over and over multiple times. And what's wrong with the AI? Couldn't it see that I'm coming through and all that? And why the police blocked that truck? Maybe it's carrying something illegal. And I can at 60 miles an hour, so I can speed up to 100. So, so yeah, I was just a weird kid, I guess, I suppose, and none of my classmates took that well because I used to regularly share any information that I read from the textbook, that is, from the encyclopedia, that was relevant to our daily classes, and people would think of me as some sort of a snob. And you know what? I get that even to this day because, well, it's just that little thing in me that when I know I'm right, when I have that conviction that I'm right, it brings out that certain smugness in me that is quite off-putting, to be fair, and I can understand why people would hate me for that. You know, yeah, but I don't care. I like being that way. Anyway, so as it turns out, people didn't like it, but hey, I used to get bullied, and then whenever we had a sports playing session or some whatever, in the ground, they always would make me the goalkeeper in a while playing basketball, and nobody would ever kick the ball towards me anyway. So there's no point of me standing there in the hot sun. So I would just stroll around the campus, and yeah, that's how I used to pass time and come back home and read books. People would, some of my neighborhood friends would invite me to play with them, but I was not a fan of cricket, and I was not a fan of them either because of all the incessant bullying and all that. So I decided not to bother about it. And that book meant that I was spent a lot of time staying in my room and reading, that never really did any sort of meaningful exercise or workouts or anything of that sort. Physical activity was something that I never had, and kind of regret it now because of what that of the pain that it caused me later on down the line, and something that I'm actively changing now. And to an extent, I'm obsessed with bodybuilding right now. And okay, I've let go of myself these past couple of months, or 4 months rather, because of extreme pressure in classes, but extreme study schedules and all that. But eventually I'll get back to shape. And anyways, so like that, went to fifth class, and that was quite okay, I guess. I used to score really well. I used to top all the classes, all the exams every single time, and anything less than an A plus was considered as failure for me actually, pretty much, and that did put a lot of pressure on me. Somehow I did stand up to it at that time, but eventually I had to shift schools because my father's commute from work is getting too long, so was getting too long back then. So I used to so we changed. So we had to move our house, moved into the city, and we did. And with that, I had to change my school. So, and just like that, all the stability that I did have, oh, ow, ow, ow. Okay, this not my finest piece of driving, but yeah, it's okay. Put up with it. So, so in this new school, it was okay. I still was the smartest person that they had, and I was there for 2 years, and yeah, that was me entering into puberty and all that, having crushes and all and everything, all that, whatever. But although I never really managed to act on any of my crushes, so didn't really matter to me. And however, people were still quite crap, and yeah, I'm not in touch with any of my classmates from the previous school, and even now I'm not in touch with any of the classmates from the school that I was in for 2 years. Yeah, I know I'm not in touch with any of them actually. We'll come to that. So at that time, it wasn't fun for me, but the only thing that kept me going, that gave me a bit of interest in actually studying and all that, was high grades, high marks, which I used to when I used to annihilate every single person in my class. Yeah, I miss those days. Anyways, so that would happen, and then I had to move again to another school because bullying got so bad in that old school from students that I had to, because I was made to strip for a festival celebration event thing, and pretty much strip, and my belly back then was quite exposed because I was told to pose as Lord Ganesha. So for for whatever reason, and I don't know why I agreed to it. So that happened, and they told me to strip in the middle of in the winter season. It was relatively cold for me, anyways, and that made me quite conscious about myself. And the next year, they asked me to do that again, but I rejected. I didn't want to do it, and that's when the teachers and the whole school, all the faculty got quite angry at me because they thought that I was defying their orders, and that there's nothing wrong in embarrassing myself that way, apparently, at least according to them back then. So, anyways, because of all that, there were instances where my math teacher used threw a book at my face because I don't know why she did that, and that meant that I had to eventually move out, and which I did, and then I moved to another school where it was it was for eighth class, and I had to give an entrance exam. I don't know the point of it, but anyways, I had to, and yeah, which I did really well in at that time, and so I was immediately granted a place in a section that has all smart kids in it, and so yeah, I was okay, all right with it. I was quite impressed that I could actually manage to do something like that, and been there, and that gave me a reality check. When I considered myself smart, well, apparently I wasn't. Although that had a lot to do with teachers being quite the assholes along with friends, and yeah, what happened was there was an incident where the teachers graded me incorrectly because for maths I did the same. I got the same answer. I got the right answer. However, I used different methods, a different way to derive that answer, which was still valid, but it wasn't something that the teachers taught me, and they scored me really poorly. And I got an awful grade. It was, I think, it was my first 100 exam for 100 marks, and 100, I think, no, I think it was 50. Anyways, it was an event, and oh, okay, yeah, I got somewhere in the region of 60s and 60% or something, and that was quite the shock to me. Not just to me, to everyone, my parents and all, everyone. So eventually, my father did confront the math teacher and pri- the teacher coordinator, I believe. She got quite upset with me. She got quite upset that somebody had the nerve to question them. And what they did was started grading me unfairly ever since. Not in the exams, no. Exams somehow I used to get through. However, we had a lot of extracurriculars, all the homeworks, all the projects, activities, and all that. Extracurricular act. Oh, I missed my breaking point. No, it doesn't matter. So, extra activities and all that. So they used to grade me quite unfairly with in all of them. Meant that when you look at my grades for each of the exams, overall they used to be quite crap, and that made me quite self-conscious. And while everyone else around me used to get really high grades, I didn't. I got graded quite unfairly because of that one event where they were questioned. The authority was questioned. So yeah, then I decided to join a tuition for maths because that was my weakest subject, and that's the worst mistake I made in my life. Even I can, you know what? That whole school was a mistake. Was the biggest mistake I ever made in my life. So hey, there's nothing I can do to change it right now. And although if I could change it, I would have done. I would have changed it. I would have changed the course of events. But you know what? There was nothing I can do. Nothing else I can manage. Mm. Okay, that's a bit close, but no, that's okay. So there was nothing I could do about it, and that meant that we moved to a place where it's a community, a gated community of sorts. So there were a lot of my classmates in that place, and so there were a lot of people that I could have been with, a lot of friends that I could have been with, and I was with some, but you know these grades were quite unfair, that quite so unfair, and all the bullying in class and all that meant that I didn't really want to associate myself or go out and talk to people about any of those things, anything rather, and play or anything for that matter, really. You know what I mean, right? So that meant that I was hung out dry whenever I need anyone. No, there was nobody that would come to help me, and well, that's been the case until now as well, and we'll come to that. Toxicity was a huge part of my life, where teachers would actually body shame me. Even my teachers would body shame me because They used to make me run errands instead of attending classes because that would somehow help me lose weight, exercise, all that, and yada yada yada. I don't. That's stupid. So all of that stupidity aside, and that meant that I didn't have much in the way of self confidence left. While everyone around me, all the friends around me, used to get into relationships, the high school relationships, the sort of deal, don't you? It's quite common, and yeah, the encyclopedia that I did used to read, I had to let go of it because there was too much to study in with the school stuff in itself. Because unless I did really, 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 really well in my exams, there was no way in hell I would get even somewhat of a decent grade. So, so yeah, that meant what little physical activity that I did have was gone, just like that. And then yeah, I did make a couple of friends, but they betrayed me for girls. He left me for a girl. So, and the other friends, couple of them, they just faded away into distance rather. And because this bullying got so bad that I had to change my sections, and in the other section it was even worse. And like that, I came to 10th class where I had to change my section again. So you can see, with a lot of changes, I never had any stable friendship with anyone at that time. And this was back in 2014, I'm talking about. 14, 15, around that time. So yeah, 14, 15, 15. I was in 10th class, and yeah, that was when I started watching Formula 1 regularly. I was just randomly scrolling through TV, and in TV I generally used to watch Discovery, National Geographic, Discovery Science. There was a thing back then, but I don't know if it still is. So I used to listen to Morgan Freeman discuss about through the wormhole in the episodes. Yeah, they were quite fun, and so was How It's Made and Fifth Gear. I used to watch that, and my English. You see, even right now, although it's not quite perfect, it was a hell of a lot worse back then. So I was bullied and mocked for that as well, because we had a speaking and listening skills exam that we had to mandatorily do. That was the part of a board curriculum, and it was quite an embarrassing moment for me when during the speaking skills, where they asked me to speak about anything that I liked, and I wasn't able to. Or rather, even if I did, my English was so broken that it was embarrassing to listen to. And that was my first, you could say, a culture shock. That was my first culture shock rather. And and that meant that what little dignity I had, which was not a lot, was gone instantly, just like that, because I couldn't speak in English. And then teachers, they publicly mocked me for that, rather than helping me learn English, teach me how to learn, and teach me things, that teach me tips or tricks to learn a language and to become better at it. Rather, they just decide that mocking me was the right thing to do for them. And so, anyways, no friends at home, no allies back at school, meant that it was just loneliness. That's it, pretty much. So I turned to YouTube. It was internet and Wi-Fi was new back then, and I got my first iPad at that time. So it was when I first started watching Fail Race. You know the channel? Yeah, Alex and Fail Race. Yeah, I still watch him. He's the best. Uh, and I slowly learned English through his. channel, and then I watch various Formula One content, the commentary, and all that. Fifth Gear, which is the show that I used to watch, and then I was randomly scrolling through YouTube one day, and I stumbled across BBC and Top Gear. Me being a huge fan of cars, Top Gear quite fascinated me. Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May. I'm a huge fan of them, and so I decided to watch it. It was in English, and they had no subtitles where because I used to pirate the show and all that. So I had to understand everything myself. It was quite tough to keep up with their English. It was quite tough, to be fair. All the metaphors, all the references, all the jokes, they were quite difficult. However, I used to listen to them and used to note down what the difficult points were that I did find while listening to an episode. If there was anything that I didn't know, if I didn't know the meaning to a word, I used to understand the context around the video, context in which that there were. I'm gonna skip this. So I used to just understand the context and then understand. Okay, so in this context, it's this way. So this is how it should be, and this is what this word means, and all that. So, and eventually, I did watch through the entire show, an hour or two every day. I used to spend on it, and yeah, I slowly learned English that way just by watching shows. And even right now, I'm trying to learn Tagalog, Filipino rather, and yeah, I'm doing that. I'm learning that the same way by watching TV shows. Anyways, 10th class 2015 was quite okay. After that listening and speaking skill incident, I had to do something about my life, didn't I? Because I didn't want to embarrass myself any further. So I learned English in ninth class. In, by the time I made it to 10th class, I was quite alright at it actually. Honestly, I used to be better than what I am right now, but again, it fell out of use these days. I don't know why, because nobody around me used to speak. Nobody around me are speaking good English. So yeah, well, hopefully that will change soon. And that was when 10th class rolled around. Okay, I aced my English exams. I aced all the speaking and listening skill exams and all that. So yeah, exams were still quite difficult. Regular exams, math, science, and all that, because of because well, I had to study for them, and teachers were still quite stupid with their grading system. So with how they judged me, and then came the 10th board exams where my papers were evaluated by an external examiner elsewhere. I think elsewhere in India, probably. I don't know, elsewhere in India. So that meant that I can answer the questions the way I wanted to, even if it is not the exact copy of what's in the textbook. At least I knew how to answer things, and that actually quite worked out. And I don't know how much I got in each subject individually back then. However, I did score enough to get an A1 grade eventually at the very end, with my CGPA, as it was called, cumulative grade point average out of 10 it was, and I got 9.1, which was just okay, which was just about A1. And you know, I was quite happy with that. However, and since then I don't even go to my school. I attended the annual day once. Nobody cared. That year's annual or farewell party for 10th class, and nobody even cared to talk to me or anything. They were all quite occupied by themselves. So I was again left sitting alone in a corner looking at people dance, and I hate dancing and singing and all that. So, but still, I had to stick around. which I did, and then I had to change schools again to another place where this time it was a complete change of environment, and again it was difficult because it was quite unlike what I studied until now. Because we thought this college, rather this school, 11th and 12th class will be the best place for me to get into medicine, to study biology and get into medicine and all that. But well, it was quite the crappiest place in itself, and my 11th class was quite uneventful, you know. Nothing really changed. Teachers weren't quite the bullies, but my marks were quite bullying me badly and kind of hurt my confidence. See, this is where me being a gifted child, or when I was a gifted child, made things difficult for me eventually because I couldn't cope up with the failure, rather. And then for 12th class, I had to change schools again. And this time, the school that I went to, they didn't teach anything properly. The teachers used to come at odd hours. Sometimes I used to have classes at 5. Oh, I ran off the road. I'm off road. I'm off road. I'm off road. Okay, back on road. So teachers used to come at odd hours, and they even some class never used to happen. And well, anyways, that's when I found a friend, a girl rather, and she was all right. But even after her giving me multiple hints that she was into me, but I never really bothered about it. I just ignored it rather. Well, I was quite oblivious to it anyways, and then eventually she did move on, and now I do regret it. We are still friends, although, well, I hope things were different back then. But she was a very good friend of mine, and she introduced me to Taylor Swift, surprisingly, interestingly, and I'm still a fan of Taylor Swift. And then also encouraged me to work out and all that to the breaks. Then again, I'm having carrying a heavy load, so yeah. So anyway, so my where was I? She encouraged me to work out and all that. So eventually, I did get into shape, and the bullying somewhat mitigated with my classmates, somewhat, somewhat. And then came the main exam that would actually decide my future if I can get into medicine. Even then, she was quite the fan of mine, and still I didn't quite realize that she was into me back then. And then because it didn't work out, oh, it was a fly. I think it flew into my mouth. Where am I going right now? Okay, whatever that was. Let me take a quick sip of water so that I'll wash it down, whatever it is. If it was a fly, then so sorry. If it wasn't, well, it's extra protein, so that's okay. I don't mind protein. So, yeah, it was me who gave up on her eventually. Rather, it was my stupidity that made me give up on her. She was the nicest person ever that I met, and I found a way to squander that relationship that I could have had. Why is this not reversing? Okay. I still somehow managed to squander that relationship, but hey, that's how it is, I suppose. And then, yeah, that made me even more lonelier than I already was. And then I took a year off to study for the exam, NEET exam, as it were, similar to what MCAT is in the US. So I took a year off, joined a coaching classes, joined coaching class or whatever. It didn't work. Oh, With all this stopping and going, obviously the fuel will run low, won't it? Are there any fuel stations nearby? There is one here, but no, it's just 54 kilometers. I think I'll make it. I don't need to refuel. So, so yeah, it was. So I had to change my school, change again. I had to. So it's there we are. I didn't have a stable friendship, and that meant I didn't have anyone to study with, and I didn't know how to study, what to study, how to approach, and all that, and nobody quite helped me with that. Which meant that I went into the exams the second time just as blind as I did the first time. And as you can expect, the consequences were just as bad. So I decided, well, I'll go elsewhere to continue medicine because it is my passion. So to become a doctor. So I came here to the Philippines and back in 2018, and yeah, it was quite new for me. And then again, it was a new start, a fresh start. So I thought I could make more friends. I thought I could connect with people and everything, which I did. I did actually, to an extent. And I did connect to another girl, and then well, we used to do everything together, uh, almost like an inseparable force, rather, if you will. Although we never really made anything official between us, there was nothing, I think, between us, but uh, there was, there was, but I don't want to discuss about it. So, anyways, it didn't end well. It ended badly, very, 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 very badly, just before the lockdown, and the only friend that I had during my bachelor's in psychology didn't exist. And then came lockdown. You know, all throughout this, there was one thing that I did realize: the 10th board exams and my 11th and 12th classes and their board exams, that it doesn't matter even if you're failing, even if you aren't doing badly. In the end, it will work out if you just keep hammering at it, you know, without losing any hope. So then came that was even more evident during lockdown and medicine MD. The first couple of years were all online. So so I used to attend lectures from my home. I traveled back to India. I used to attend lectures from there, but again I was left to myself. Everyone else formed groups and friends and study groups and all that, and even to an extent cheating groups, cheating exams because it's online. Duh, you can cheat easily. And I was left all alone, fending for myself. You know what? I don't blame them. I don't care. You know, it taught me how to read textbooks. It taught me to study properly. It taught me the importance of studying and textbooks, and it also taught me hard work, which I'm quite hapful because which I'm quite grateful for. Because what's hapful? So, which I'm quite grateful for because it made me who I am. Someone that can actually adapt to the situation regardless. Even if I have to study pages and pages and pages of textbooks, I can still manage them. Ouch. I can still manage them quite proficiently. So, more than my peers can do, and that was quite helpful. So, yeah, I had a heck a lot of struggle moving on from the split up that I had a couple of months before the lockdown. That meant that it became difficult to study without feeling all alone and insecure even for most of the time. Yes, I was in my home, but then what? I used to study, attend class, study, and then go to gym, work out, and come back home, study again. That's it. So it's not like I had a lot of things to do. So eventually my thoughts started to consume me. and and yeah, it was something interesting. It was an interesting experience for me to go through when I was 20. I learned everything the hard way, and that also didn't help matters when most of my friends, who were quite the stupid people that I ever came across, not my friends, rather other classmates, except for her, she was quite smart. But then again, I'm not talking to her anyways. She was not with me anyways, so it doesn't matter. And the last person that I did converse in English properly is now gone. So, and with these people, they used to score such high marks that I used to feel self-conscious because they don't know how to study. They always used to ask me for help for practicals, lab manuals, and everything for that matter. If we had a case diagnosis, they used to ask me for the diagnosis because they couldn't do it by themselves because they were so stupid. And still, when they got when we got our scores at the end of the year, they were in the top 10 of the class and top of the class. And then I was where barely managed to pass anatomy. Almost had to leave hopes because that was a nice try. So I almost had to give up hope that I had any hope of passing my any of my exams. And and yeah, I did eventually did pass. I never had to waste any years or waste any of my time trying to read for a special exam, rather that were special makeup exams and everything. So that was okay. It was tough, but that was okay. Somehow managed it, fought till the very end. And that's the thing. If there is a way that you can fight till the end, don't give up hope. There is no point in you, even if you know you're gonna fail, why don't you try your best? You know, maybe, just maybe, you will pass. And if you didn't, if you don't, hey, at least you learned something new. You learned how to deal with failure. You learned how to deal with how to not repeat those same mistakes again. And that was the case for the next couple of years, and even until now, it always was work, 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 work. And then eventually, all that work and all that studying meant that I never used to get invited to parties. Well, not that I'm interested in any of them, anyways. And people would just distance me because I wasn't like them. And here we are right now. I started a YouTube channel because I didn't want to feel alone. I don't know. It's not like YouTube is an easy business. And certainly, if I earn anything out of this, if I do become successful, it'll be quite fun. But I don't know what life has in store for me, nor do I. I don't know how this video will do. But I'm not gonna give up, because giving up is something that only cowards do. There have been many instances where I felt like, okay, this is quite difficult, I should give up, but never have I felt compelled enough to end my life like most people did. I don't even understand why people would even go to that extent of taking their own life. Yeah, yeah, there are reasons. There are reasons. There could be reasons why one would feel so overwhelmed by their life that they have to end it. But I don't know. Anyways, so all my friends used to do really well. They used to go out, have friends, have fun in parties and all that, and still they used to score really well. That affected my mental health, as you can imagine, because I knew they are not smart enough to do any of that, but they still did. And yeah, like that, it was online, so I didn't make any friends. And when it did become offline, eventually, I was too hung up in my own world, trying to pass and study and all that, that I didn't make any friends. I didn't make any stable relationships, which led me to this YouTube. You know, instead of wasting time watching mindless things on YouTube and Netflix and Prime Video and all that, instead of watching Doctor House 5 times, uh, which I did by the way, it's better to do something like this, I suppose, if it will help me build a career out of this. Probably I can earn some money that will help me in my further future exams that I have to give to become a specialist surgeon. Yeah, I want to become a surgeon, an interventional radiologist, or maybe even a cosmetic surgeon. I like plastic surgery. I like all the money. I want money. Anyways, there's no hiding that fact, and I'm not going to hide that fact, and I'm not ashamed of saying that I want to earn money, because money is happiness. Don't let people say anything else. Money buys you happiness. It does. Even if you don't agree with it, no, it does. Money does buy you happiness. Yeah, no, it won't buy you love and friends and affection and all that, but it will alleviate a heck a lot of problems that you are suffering right now. And there we are. And Am I Contract Simulator, this game, is quite a nice way to vent out my frustration and not feel bored. I can drive for hours and hours and hours on end and not feel like I've been abandoned or something, because I still feel abandoned. I have those abandonment feelings, and it's, I don't know why I'm rambling and saying the same thing over and over again, but it's just abandonment and anxiety and all that. I never gotten myself tested for anything else, but I suppose I have a lot of disorders that are in my head that are wrong with me, like, because I studied enough psychiatry to learn that I might have ASD, or maybe that's just me be having the regular, all medical students have this feeling of the medical student syndrome, rather. Probably could be, might not be, I don't know. And I did get to a point right now where I can talk about these things without crying myself to sleep every day. Yeah, yeah, I know I haven't moved on from any of my past relations, the, the, the breakups that I had, the heartbreaks that I had, because, and all that, but you know what? It's okay, I guess. It's okay to think about those feelings. It's okay to think about what happened in the past if you don't dwell too much on it, but use that as a primer or a template to not repeat the same mistakes that you did back then. That's the best thing that you can do. I'm not asking you to forget them, and certainly forgetting and moving on is not even the right approach for such situations. You shouldn't forget them. You shouldn't forget what happened to you. You can just become numb to it. Prepare notes. That's what I did. Prepare notes where you went wrong before, and try to not repeat those same mistakes again in your life. And I hope that I don't do that, because, well, you end up like me, all alone. And Christmas, New Year, or any holidays for that matter, nobody would invite me. People would have fun, host dinners, host and all that, but they would just ignore me. And then when they do need my help, they come running to me, which is which is what you would expect anyways from people. Yeah. But when I need their help, they just disappear. I don't know how much of this video will be uploaded. I might cut certain parts of it, or maybe I might just leave it all alone. I might just leave it all on and all that. So you can listen to me uncut. So, anyways, if you're stuck with me till now, wow, I appreciate you. Please subscribe to my channel and share your stories down below. How you were during the lockdown and COVID times, and how did you cope with your struggles? Because I would like to learn, and probably I can incorporate some of your lessons into my life and probably make changes. And with that, I suppose it's time for me to end the video. Yeah, this is quite a serious video, but if you like to talk to me about such weird things, if you ask, or anything, even if you want to talk to me about uh, question about your stupid medical doubts and all that, if you have any medical doubts, healthcare related doubts and all that, yeah, you can drop your comments down below and I will make sure to answer them to the best of my abilities. And okay, this is my garage. Okay, I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities, and probably I can build a healthy, positive keyword, yeah, healthy, a positive, and a determined community. Unlike Andrew Tate's community, the toxic fan base. No, no, I don't want that. I want a clean, friendly, helpful background where you can teach me and I can teach you. We can learn things together, we can grow together. And if you want me to discuss more about medical topics, yeah, if you want to listen to more about various diseases, maybe if you want to know about anything, comment down below and I will discuss them like this, the way while driving around, probably. I will listen to you all and try to answer them. And if you like more such videos where I would just talk stupidly, ramble on for hours and hours and hours about any topic, if you think there's not infuriating like most people do, if you want to listen to me every day, then yes, please. If you want to know more details about every single event of my life, then why not? You know. Anyways, for now, I don't have anything else to say. Tomorrow, I will release another video with my regular Conquer the Hill or Hill Climb videos, so you can watch them. They're already two parts, so if you want to watch them further, yeah, I'll find them on my channel. Yeah, and yeah, I think I rambled on for too long. I don't know how long this video is going to be, and yeah, listen to this beautiful V8 for now. Anyways, that's the end. Like, share, and subscribe.